Before September 11, 2001, the United States believed it was untouchable. The Cold War had ended, the Soviet Union had collapsed, and America stood as the world's lone superpower. Intelligence agencies were focused outward, tracking rogue states, nuclear threats, and distant conflicts, while a new kind of enemy was quietly evolving. Warnings existed. Reports mentioned extremist networks, hijackings, and plans involving commercial aircraft. Yet these warnings were scattered across agencies that rarely shared information. Bureaucratic walls, outdated threat models, and a belief that oceans guaranteed safety created a dangerous blind spot. In hindsight, the tragedy of 9/11 was not only about what happened that morning, but about what was ignored in the years leading up to it. As the attacks unfolded live on television, leaders faced chaos, fear, and uncertainty unlike anything before. Airspace over the United States was shut down for the first time in history. Military jets scrambled without clear targets. Communication between federal agencies broke down under pressure. Decisions were made in minutes that would normally take weeks. The priority became simple: prevent a second wave at any cost. But in that urgency, confusion ruled. Some threats were real, others imagined. That fog of crisis shaped immediate responses and laid the groundwork for policies that would permanently change American life, civil liberties, and national security doctrine. Once the dust settled, fear became policy. The Patriot Act expanded surveillance powers at unprecedented levels. Intelligence agencies gained authority few questioned at the time. The creation of the Department of Homeland Security reshaped government structure almost overnight. Officials argued these steps were necessary to stop another attack, but critics warned they came at a cost. Decisions made under emotional shock became permanent law. Airport security, mass data collection, and foreign intelligence operations expanded rapidly. The question many historians still debate is this: were these decisions driven by evidence, or by fear of being blamed if another attack occurred? 2 decades later, the legacy of 9/11 decisions remains deeply embedded in modern America. Wars launched in its aftermath reshaped the Middle East. Surveillance programs changed the relationship between citizens and the state. Entire generations grew up knowing constant security checks as normal. Some argue these choices kept the nation safe. Others believe they surrendered freedoms too easily. The real story behind 9/11 decisions is not about conspiracy. It's about how fear, power, and urgency can redefine a nation overnight. And the hardest question remains unanswered. If faced with the same moment again, would America choose differently? In the years following 9/11, investigations searched for individual mistakes, but many experts concluded the real failure was systemic. Intelligence agencies had pieces of the puzzle, but no one assembled the full picture. Information existed in silos, guarded by jurisdiction and protocol rather than shared for prevention. The assumption that hijackings would follow Cold War-era patterns prevented officials from imagining suicide attacks using airplanes. This was not a lack of warnings, it was a lack of imagination shaped by outdated thinking. The tragedy exposed how modern threats evolve faster than institutions designed to stop them. After 9/11, American leadership adopted a new philosophy. Uncertainty itself became a threat. Decisions were no longer based on proven danger, but on what might happen. This mindset justified preemptive action, expanded surveillance, and global military presence. Leaders believed that hesitation could be catastrophic. While this approach reshaped national security strategy, it also normalized fear as a governing tool. Even today, major decisions are influenced by the shadow of that day. 9/11 didn't just change policy, it changed how power responds to risk, permanently altering the way the world defines security. The days and weeks after 9/11, television screens became a constant loop of collapsing towers, burning wreckage, and urgent headlines. This repetition shaped public emotion as much as official policy did. Fear became collective, amplified by nonstop coverage and speculation. Media outlets, racing for answers, often blurred analysis with assumption. This environment narrowed public debate and discouraged skepticism. When decisions were announced, they felt inevitable rather than optional. Understanding this moment is essential because it shows how information flow can accelerate policy acceptance before consequences are fully understood. History rarely judges moments by emotion, it judges outcomes. 2 decades later, historians continue to examine whether the decisions made after 9/11 truly achieved their goals. Terrorist networks adapted rather than disappeared. Surveillance expanded faster than oversight. Trust in institutions fluctuated as classified programs were later revealed. The real story behind 9/11 decisions is not about blaming individuals. It is about understanding how power operates under fear. The lesson is uncomfortable but vital. The greatest impact of 9/11 may not be the attacks themselves, but how they reshaped the balance between security, freedom, and accountability forever.